Hey guys, it's Sonia here. How are you? I hope you're having an amazing day. It's been a bit, it's been a week. I missed a week of the podcast. I was knocked out cold with COVID, and I'm not going to come up with any other excuse, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't prioritize showing up for you when I was not able to show up for myself. So, how often do you do that? How often do you show up for other people, but you stop taking care of what's important and who's important? And that's you. So I wanted to say, welcome, welcome. This is episode 139. And I'm so excited. We've got a special guest that we're going to be bringing on today. And we're talking about self-esteem. And we're just going to naturally, like always, see where the conversation goes. This is a heart to heart, which means it's going to be available on YouTube probably today. And super, super excited to share this with you. So stay tuned. Just be a second before she's live, and we are going to share all of this information with you. So once again, Sonia with Fresh Approach Wellness, helping you with the 4 pillars of your life: meals, movement, mindset, and your relationship with money, and helping you, most importantly, keep those promises to yourself. Because you, my dear, you are so, so, so worth it. Hey guys, I have Clarissa with me today. She is our special guest. And what she's done is she's talked about the self-esteem regime. And this is one of, well, her big book that she has done, become an international bestseller for it, and all about happy and healthy self-esteem. And we were just talking off camera. I was sharing some personal self-esteem issues and how my past has an impact on my present, which of course is then dictating my future. And she was just opening up a little bit as to how the last couple of years have impacted her directly. So Clarissa, I'd like to hand things over to you to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Would love to do that. Thank you so much for this. This is really extraordinary. I love the work I'm doing right now, and I'm really super excited about the book because the self-esteem regime, you can tell by the title, the regime is an organized way of doing things, has been something that I've been wanting to write for a very long time. And I think it's a perfect time now, especially during COVID, post-COVID, and some of the, economical issues that, we're facing now, the financial issues that we're facing now, the political issues that we're facing now, that have rendered these last couple of years destabilizing for many. If you go by some of the statistics that are coming out of the CDC right now, and I'm worried about our youth. About 44 to 45% of our youth, and when I say that, we're talking middle school, high school, and college age, are either depressed, they are anxious, they are thinking of committing suicide, or they have committed suicide. So the idea for me of personal development is one that I believe really does strengthen us to the core, especially in these times when they're so difficult. I often say that it's really when you do the work in personal development and self-help, it's difficult. I'm not going to say some of it is easy, but it really does bring you to that place of peace, as we were talking about pre-show. It brings you to a much stronger place. I like to call it standing strong in your stead, much like a tree does with deeply rooted roots. Meaning that, if and life will trigger us always, Sonia, you know that. So, when the storm comes through, when that tornado is passing by, we will lose a leaf or two, maybe we'll lose a branch, but we're not going to be uprooted with the storm and transported away. That's because we have worked really hard to have the tools in the shed that we need at any time. And, when life is overwhelming, we really need to be smart enough to know that it's time for self-care. It's time for downtime. It's time to find the time to take those 3 deep breaths, maybe 10 deep breaths. Maybe it's just nothing more than, locking yourself in a closet for 10 minutes and just trying, whatever it is, whatever you need is something that you must be mindful of. Some people say, I just don't have the time. Well, we have the time of the day to do everything else, it seems. We have the time to eat. We have the time to make dentist appointments and doctor's appointments and run the kids around and all of the rest. And I offer that, what if it was, what if it was meaning getting up half an hour earlier every day. And obviously with, you've gotten enough sleep, or maybe it's just something you have to actually put in your calendar, just like you would any other appointment. The massage that you're going to get, that's a lovely thing, but maybe we could have, once a day for those 20 minutes, half hour, 15 minutes, whatever you can fit in, that time for contemplation, for meditation, for deep breathing, for a walk. There's just such great solace to be. I find my greatest thinking time is when I'm walking, which means for me, it's working out. And obviously I'm working out and it's rigorous, but I live in Arizona. I'm looking at the desert. I'm looking at the, balloons in the air. I'm looking at the cactus that are blooming. And some of the silliest things, honestly, when you get back a little bit more to nature, and in my way, recently I've decided, I really think this idea of sprouting is really cool. So I got
I heard that too. Yeah.
educate yourself on sprouting. And I'll be darned if when you buy the alfalfa seeds and 4 days later they've sprouted and you've got this amazing alfalfa sprouts that you can eat. Now usually you'll go to the supermarket to buy those, but the idea of getting the mason jar and getting the little the screw on top that you can strain them with, and then watching them grow. Well, you're going to think that that's the silliest thing on the planet, but when you see all the amazing, the wonder around you, the magic around you, Mother Nature is so powerful that if you can just make and take a few extra minutes to do things like that. I love essential oils. Here we go, plants and herbs and all of those wonderful things. I try to keep myself, the 4 pillars of self-esteem are look good, feel good, be good, and greater good.
Love
Look
that.
good, we know what that. Look good, we know what look good means, right? It's our exterior. Feel good, diet, exercise, nutrition. And I may not be able to always get in all the exercise that I want, but I can choose to eat right. And that's kind of where the sprouting issue came up. But, there are always ways that we can self-care, throw a mask on our face. That's something we're doing for ourselves. And just try to find the downtime when you are in overload.
I love what you just said there. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. And let's hone in and repeat, because I believe it's so important what you said. I like to use the word 4 pillars too, but our 4 pillars are completely different, but they're not, right? They are, but they're not. So your 4 pillars are look good, feel good,
Be good and greater good.
be good,
Be good and greater good. So it's the exterior with look good, the interior with feel good. It's what we're thinking with be good. So our relationships, leadership, our finances, our businesses, all of that. And then greater good is paying it forward, giving back, volunteering, and tithing. Depending on what you believe and how you feel is best to be able to give back. Some people may not be in the position. Many people are not in the position to do grand, broad things as far as giving back right now. What if it meant nothing more than a smile, a compliment, holding an elevator door open for someone, letting someone in that you can see is in difficulty in traffic? I do this all the time. I'll stop and let someone through. There's always going to be jerks on the road. Let them go. Don't get upset about it. Help a woman down these stairs with a baby carriage. Stand up on public transportation when you see an elderly person come in, or a woman that is obviously pregnant. So you're going to want to, think that, make sure that your heart is always in the right place, even though your purse, your wallet, your pocketbook might not, your bank account may not always be in a place where you can, give, again, broad stroke gestures. But you can always, that act of kindness is not only, it's kind of a double-edged sword, if you will. It's making someone else feel really good, which makes you feel really good too. So when you see somebody, wow, thank you so much, that means the world to me. Gosh, yeah, I'm there all day long for that. I just think that sometimes it's the simplest things.
I love that. And I'm gonna touch on some of these quickly. Looking good. I don't know. I know you and I are newly connected, and I know there's a lot of my followers that have been watching me for a while. And I would guess that you're the same as I am, but ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening or watching this, first of all, you see me playing with my hair, and that's with intention because I don't feel like it's doing what I want it to do. So, on top of that, I like to look good every day for work,
Mhm.
working for myself. I like to look good looking in the mirror. I
Yes.
will wear dresses. Yesterday, I did a complete post and then a sub post about acting like my future self as if I was on vacation. So I
Right.
wore, because I'm in Canada, you're in Arizona,
Right.
weather is
I'm so
completely different. We're talking,
sorry.
just so you know, my computer's talking to me in Fahrenheit here, so I can relate. We can talk the same language. It is 32 degrees Fahrenheit here with freezing rain.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So my daughter's in Cuba, to give you an idea. She sent me a picture of her toes facing the ocean. So what
Nice.
did I do yesterday? Exactly, right? Yes. So what did I do over the weekend on Family Day, which is Monday? I took my grandson to the beach. I pulled up my pants to my knees and I sat on the beach and I mimicked her photo and I sent it to her.
So
And then,
cute.
isn't it cute? Like, and then yesterday I was feeling the vibe, but pretending I was on vacation, but acting like my future self. So I put on a swimsuit cover up, which looked like a dress with a white long sleeve bodysuit, white tights, my navy booties, and I literally, nobody would have known the difference. But when we look good on the exterior, when it comes to you and your clients, can you explain to me the difference that makes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. There is nothing that will put a lilt in your step more than when you're,
Mhm.
walking out of the house and you're looking good. You're pulled together, it's snatched, it's locked and loaded, and that you feel as though you can face anything. Sometimes, it's almost 90% of your day. It's just knowing you're looking good because you're taking care of yourself. You care about yourself. You respect yourself. It's a huge word, respect, whether you're respecting yourself or someone
Mhm.
else. And when you are bringing your best you physically, aesthetically to the table, you're feeling really, really good about yourself. And others are also, got a really good opinion of you as well. Now, do we live for others' opinions? Certainly we do not. But I think that, admiration is not a bad thing if somebody admires you, if someone it's better than admonishing you, right? So, we are social beings. We cannot be alone all the time. And so we do want to be having happy, healthy relationships and bringing our best selves. Yes, we want to look good. Yes, we want to feel good. Yes, we want to be good, but we also want to bring that kindness factor I was talking about before. You can still be a strong leader. You can still be feminine. You can still be, strong. You can still be forthright. But isn't it always nice when it's intertwined with, I want to be able to tell you today that, you missed your quota. I'm making this up as you missed the quota, but I know you're putting in the hard work. I know you're doing it. And let's see, we can bump that up for next week. So you haven't really just told somebody they're a crappy employee, but in your leadership and with your grand leadership skills that you should be studying all the time, if you're in a leadership position, you're obviously going to want to make sure that you leave them feeling that they want to do more. They want to do more, not necessarily for you in the company, but they want to do more for themselves
Yes.
as well. It's that growth. It's that personal growth piece. I often talk about, these books, personal development. When I started personal development, there were many bookstores around the United States, and I'm going back 30, 40 years at this point.
You
And
mean
there
just
weren't very
yesterday?
many.
You mean
Yeah,
just
there weren't
yesterday,
very
right?
many. There weren't very many books, there weren't
No.
very many, but if I could read something and find the time to read something, it was always going to be self-help. I offer that when you go now into Barnes and Noble, it's rows and rows and rows and rows of personal help and personal development and self-help. I would like to underline this is not called shelf help. We want to buy the books and we want to read the books, and more than reading
Yes.
the books, we want to do the work that's in the book. My book is broken down self-esteem regime. It is broken down into 12 different chapters, and each chapter begins with a re-word. We start with the release. And this is probably the chapter that you will have to do the most work in, because we have such a construct that we have, the bark around the tree, right? That is who we think we are, and what we've learned along the way of who we think we are. I think it's really important also to understand what we need to unlearn and what we need to release. And so you're going to be doing some work there. There's journaling to be done. We've got, the mirror therapy work to do. And so with Clarissa's Corner, the Clarion Call, the reviews, the case studies, my book is not a read. It is a manual. It's also for me a mission and a movement, but it's a manual that you can read today and garner some really great information about how to move your personal life and your business life forward, your relationships forward. But you will also find it helpful 6 months from now if you read it again, a year from now if you read it again. Because let's face it, what we have to release today isn't going to be the same thing as what we need to release 6 months from now or a year from now. Think about where you were a year ago. Oh my God, I can think about where I was a year ago, and it was not one of the happiest places. I was just coming out of a relationship. It was extremely painful. I was just getting over a horrible bout of COVID, and I was losing hair on my head. It was not one of the happiest times for me. It was a drag to get out of bed in the morning, but I did it because you have to forge forward. And that, as I was saying before, these are all learning curve moments. These are the things that put us in bigger, better, bolder, stronger, and brighter places 6 months down the road. When sometimes and many times learning curves are very painful, but we're going to be better off for it, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road.
There's so much I want to say to this. First things first, I know we need to be mindful of time. We've got plenty of time still, but quickly, because this is the perfect segue for this, can you let us know where you can find your book?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's on Amazon. It's even on Amazon in Canada, UK, Italy, France. Here in the States, we've got it, and it's in Mexico. It's starting to blossom all over the world, which is awesome. You can also get it in the Barnes & Noble stores, and it's also on Kindle and on Audible.
Excellent. And I just wanted to make sure our viewers know that, where they can get this book. You can always DM either one of us. Our contact information is going to be included in the bio here. So if you can't find it, message either one of us. We'll be able to lead you down that path to be able to get this book, because what I'm hearing is this book is the feel-good component, the inward, the thinking that you're talking about. And I too have written a book, and for those that don't know, and this show isn't about me, this show's about you, but I'm going to definitely showcase the kind of people, the like-minded people that you guys are listening to right now. Mine's called Your Story Matters, and it's a woman's self-love, self-awareness workbook where throughout it, you have to do the work. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, and the reason why Clarissa showed her book, I mean, obviously I wanted her to, but it's more than just a manual. It's more than just a mission. It's more than just a movement. You see, we all come to the table with these expectations of that other people have laid on us that impact our self-esteem. I was sharing behind camera how I turned things around, how I was in avoidance. And guys, I'm a life coach. I've been a coach. I've been in this space for over 15 years. And I still have moments. And Clarissa just shared, she has moments.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are or what you're growing through.
Exactly.
That is the key word. You are growing. You
Yes.
will make it through this mountains, and you're going to be better off with it. And you had brought up an amazing point, Clarissa. Learning curves are painful. And for those that are empaths, for those that believe that we are transitional and we change our vibrations and things physically, our planes physically change, transformations are more painful, no matter what you label it, than what you realize.
Absolutely.
You might lose your friends, you might lose your family, you might lose your job. Part of your identity might be shed. And then what? So let's talk about how that all impacts your self-esteem.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, I go back to the tools in the shed at the time. So, I think as we grow, as we age, as we mature and we learn, because we've been through many of the painful learning curves, yeah, no pain, no gain, and so I think that that's really important as well. I face life differently now than I did, years ago. And it's because I've done the work of, self-esteem, self-help, and on self-esteem, for sure. Coming from my childhood home, I had a whole different idea as to what lack of healthy self-esteem really was. I knew, my mother just, was in a toxic relationship. She got married very, very young. She had to, because she was pregnant with me. So she was only 18 when she had to get married. And that was a tough thing for girls back in 1958. It was a whole different social conduct happening in the 50s than we are today, obviously. But she was sort of pigeonholed then into a marriage she really didn't want, a child she really didn't want. And her life, as she knew it, was going to take a whole different path than what she wanted it to take. So, my mom was, oh, don't take my picture. And she had a whole bunch of stuff going on where, I don't come out well. My mother's a beautiful woman. My grandmother, fabulous woman. I need to lose weight. She didn't need to lose a pound. She took 2 diet pills, choked on them, perforated her esophagus. It was the next 6 weeks in the hospital. I thought that was, as a child watching that, I must have been 10, 11 years old. And I adored my grandmother. Grandmother Clarissa, for me, was my life. And it was silly to see, for me, how, with my perception of how amazing these women were, and their perception wasn't the same. And therein lies the real catalyst for the wanting to write this book, is to go up and shake most women that I know and say, don't you know how amazingly spectacular you are? I want to tell. But you don't get there unless you're ready to do the work, and to know that, that yes, you are a spectacular being. We learn the same thing from our friends, from our educative processes, from sometimes our faith will show us, will teach us, and suggest things that we may not be in alignment with. So there's all of this indoctrination from the time we're born, that we then have to say, okay, where is it that this all fits into what serves me, what doesn't? As I said, the releasing of the first chapter. What will serve me and what doesn't? What is going to make me a better person tomorrow than I am today? And that's kind of, the genesis, if you will, of the self-esteem regime.
Okay, there's one more thing I want to hone in on based on what you said, because I know we can talk all day. I know there are a couple of questions that I like to reserve in my back pocket, which is a constant with all of my shows that I want to touch on. But there's something that you just shared, and I should have wrote it down.
It's okay. I think it was probably part of childhood also. There was also
there was a real moment there. I should have wrote it down. I'm like, oh, no worries, I'll remember. This is easy.
And then I moved forward in my modeling career, and I was working with some, the 1% of the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. And I saw toxic relationships, drug use, drinking, not all, obviously not all, but there were some women that I wanted to walk up to and say, why are you doing this to yourself? You are so spectacular.
That's it. Sorry,
so it's not always, people think that, I've had questions asked to me, oh my God, you've had the perfect life, and you've done, this, that, and the other thing, and you were this and that. And it does, again, self-esteem doesn't discriminate, Sonia. It doesn't. And everybody's going to go through it. The cover of my book, when the publishers first sent it to me, for the final edition, was, you'll see it's 3 blues. It was orange, pink, and yellow. So, it was going to really jump off the shelves. It was great, right? But I asked them if they could make it blue, because I wanted men to be able to pick up this book. And as I was traveling Italy in November and December with the promotion of the book, and going in front of groups of people, I will tell you, and I can promise you, half of the room was male. And I was stunned, and I was gobsmacked, really. I couldn't believe that, I had it was almost as though it had come, the premonition, if you will, that men are in need as much as anyone else on the planet for happy, healthy self-esteem. They are, I believe, confused from the traditional mother to the woman of today. Somewhere they got lost. I think there's been a lot of, man bashing that is not fair. And that, men need to do this work, because then when they can bring themselves to understand that living, I talk about taking the high road, Sonia, and then I promise I'll shut up. But the high road for me means this. It's an acronym. It's honesty, integrity, gratitude, and honor. When you can be radically honest with yourself and with others, when your integrity, your moral principles, and your moral uprightness, right, is something that you can't deny and no one else can. When your gratitude is something that, you're feeling the minute your feet hit the ground in the morning, right? And there's so much we
can talk about that later.
We're not going to go down that path, because it's just a given. And then honor is such a fabulous word. And I think that, when you bring honor to the table, it means, who are you when no one else is in the room? Who are you at the water cooler when, somebody else is bashing Susie Q? Are you bashing Susie Q too? Or are you defending Susie Q? There's something else I like to say, and that is, loyalty is when I have your back behind your back.
I love that.
How many people are really doing that? How many people can you count on one hand that, without a doubt, that if you're not in the room, they've got your back? That's what we strive for when we talk about taking the high road. And the high road is a more difficult road. It's a longer road. It's a darker road. It's a lonelier road.
It's isolated.
It's a very isolated place to be when you decide that you want to level up, and that your vibrational levels and when you want to level up, you're going to lose a lot of people around you. And people are going to, what the, she's always alone. Why was that girl? She could have had any man she wanted. Why was she not married? All of the stuff that comes with that. You have to really, you have to be ready, willing, and able to, to do the work. And the big word here is being courageous, having the courage to do the work and say, I can stand on my own. I do want to attract loving people into my life, but the ones that are not here for my greater good, the ones that are not, here for me, loyal is when they, have your back behind your back. They are not meant to be in your lives. In your life, in your life. There you go.
And there's so much we can talk about on that. I know we're going to do a part 2 one day. We'll talk about this afterwards, but I am being very mindful with the time. Yeah. So there is something I want to circle back to, because I did think of my thought and I did write it down this time. I was driving, or I was in a passenger seat, or Tony was actually, I know what it was. I did just recover from COVID, which is why I didn't do an episode last week. And I understand everything that you said. And when we're out, and ironically enough, 3 weeks ago, I had strep throat. So I've been down and out of my control twice this year. And we are 5 weeks into 2023. Now, I kind of laugh that my words of the year are purge and proceed. So I would imagine my body is purging what no longer serves me, so I can proceed into what's next. Right. But Tony was a Prince Charming. He's my husband, and we went on a date on Saturday. We had to cancel Valentine's, we had to cancel everything, and we live in a small town, so London, Ontario wasn't that far away. It's about 15-20 minute drive. So I said, at first I'm like, hey babe, can we go to the beach? And he looked at me like I had 6 eyes, because like you, I believe in nature and purity, and this is how I spent family day with my grandson, was at the beach. We'll talk about that later. But okay. On the Saturday, 2 days before, I said, let's go on a date. And he kind of kiboshed the beach things. He thought I was a little cuckoo. But I said, okay, I've got another idea. And he's like, what? I said, let's drive into London, go to Starbucks. We can pick up a nice drink. And
I love Chapters. I love Chapters.
And then we can go into well, we can't go into Chapters, but you can go into Chapters and pick me up some magazines. And then you can go next door to Farm Boy and pick up some healthy treats. And he did all of those things. And the point is, while we were in the car driving or parked, whatever it was, because I was in the car, it was so funny when he came back. He's like, "You look like a dog trying to get air." He's like, and the windows were down because I was just so excited to be out of the house for a week because I was hit hard,
Yeah.
right? And I knew I couldn't be around people, but he was my gateway to the world. And he was so cute in chapters calling the books, but that's not the moral of the story. So the moral of the story is we were in the car driving, and whether we were at a stoplight or I think it was when he was in Farm Boy, but I'm not sure. I heard a conversation with the car beside me. And the woman said to the man, "Whatever you want. I wanted this, but whatever you want will do." And I heard more of the conversation. She wanted a healthy salad somewhere, and he wanted something else. And part of self-esteem is having the confidence of speaking your truth and knowing your voice. But how many people, men or women, completely kowtow to what the other person wants because it is easier than finding a middle ground?
Right. So that's when we start talking about boundaries, right? You have to, you every day in every way, with every action of yours and with every word you utter, you're teaching other people how you will and will not be treated, how you would like to be treated, how to, be in relationship with you. And, it doesn't mean you have to become, super bitch all of a sudden. It just means you have to, be reasonable with things. Obviously, you're working it out. You're two people, and when there's more than one in the room, usually there will be conflict. There's just no way around that. And so, getting really early on and really into a relationship very early on, and it doesn't mean it's not a diktat. It's not that you are laying down a law, but you are laying down the boundaries of, yelling, that's off the table. We're not doing that. Every Saturday night was date night, no matter what comes. Yes. Okay. You're saying, and obviously there's wiggle room in all of this, but you will not be called names. You will not allow someone to hit you. You will not allow someone to degrade you. So you will teach them every day how you will and will not be treated. And that is something that we have to be as women, mostly, for the most part, but not only, we do have to be mindful of. It's never okay to yell and scream. I was brought up in a home that yelled and screamed.
We can talk about that. Still, to this day, yes, to this day, my folks still yell and scream at each other.
And
it's amazing. 52 years
very,
later, it's amazing. Yeah.
And it's very jarring. And it's almost as if you live through that as a child, you come out with PSTD. It's almost like you lived through a war. And so, and so there's that. So it's not okay to yell and scream. Oh, you might get into an argument once and you might, raise the tone of your voice, but that is not your daily diet. It may happen, shouldn't. And if that does happen, I think apologies are in order once everything has calmed down. And there's another great thing. Apologies are the most beautiful things you can do. There's a lovely song out. It's a country and Western song. And it goes something like this. You can do anything until you can't. And what I mean by that is, one word too much may be the end with what of it all. You may never be able to step back into that relationship with that. And certainly you can do anything until you can't, because the angels came one day and that person is no longer with us. And so, who is it that we need to be reaching out to? Who is it we need to make that phone call to? Is there somebody that comes to mind when I say, just send a text? If I say, pick up a phone and call, who is it that's the first to mind? Is being sorry really just a horrible thing? Or is being the right rider all the time such a wonderful thing? You can be right until somebody is 6 feet in the ground, and then it's too late. So I kind of offer up that, making amends and being the first to do it, by the way, is a really great self-esteem moment. When you're putting your feelings, when you're putting your emotions, when you're putting everything else aside and saying, my love for you is more important than however I'm going to feel, even if you don't answer my call.
And I love that. And I'm just gonna give my 2 cents, and then we're gonna go into my questions because we've got a couple more minutes before we have to close this off. On that note about forgiveness, and there's the Ho'oponopono prayer, from the Hawaiian Ho'oponopono prayer, which I talk about in my book, and I've got a piece on. But one of them is forgive me. And the forgiveness that you are asking the other person is not for the other person.
Right.
It's for you to move on.
I'd like to say it's for both. Yeah.
It is for the both, but you don't even need the other person.
But it's a great gesture. It's a grand gesture.
Yes. Okay. First things first. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today, for being a part of the message that we are sharing to the world, because we all need a lot more health and happiness, and it comes to starting with ourselves. And I know we could talk about this forever because there's so much more I want to share with you. But let's talk about my 4 pillars very quickly. I want to throw these questions at you rapidly. First things first, when it comes to meals, movement, mindset, and your relationship with money, can you give us like a one-liner on all 4?
Meals,
Movement,
mindset,
and your relationship with money, aka stress.
Okay. I think that there's something I would like to leave everybody with all 4 of your categories, because I think it would fit in beautifully anywhere. And that is, I think we've all heard, I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. Everybody's enough. Well, if you look up the definition of enough, it is only as much as is required. Okay. Required by whom? Required by what? Required by what body of people? I mean, so let's go and say to ourselves, let's start a new mantra that is, I am so much more than enough. When it comes to my finances, my being able to make money, my mindset, my love for myself, my love for life, my love for my family, I am so much more than enough. Nobody needs to validate me. Nobody can tell me how much enough I am or I am not, because obviously being enough isn't enough. I am so much more than enough.
I love, love, love that. And there is a mantra that I want to add to that I've heard recently, and it's not really a affirmation, it's more of a declaration, but kind of like what you just said, which did, as an empath, we talked about this behind the screens, I am highly intuitive. I pick up on feelings, vibes, and it's hard sometimes, as much as I try to protect myself. But I heard this, I wrote this down, and I'm going to share with you. This is what I call my word jar, and cute. It's cute, right? And I've been adding to it, but like this one, right? Thank you. Can you read this?
There's nothing wrong with me, right?
Say it again.
There is nothing. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with me.
So when I say that,
I do think we need to keep
straightens.
ourselves open. Yeah, we must keep ourselves open for learning, and maybe, not all, again, that right writer part of us, we have to make sure that there is nothing wrong with us, but what is it that we need to open yourselves up to bigger, greater answers, to move yourself forward. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with any of us.
That's building on a strong foundation, but you cannot build on a foundation that isn't strong. Because otherwise, like you said before, with that tree, we're going to fall into the roots. We're going to sway. If we're not strong on our own, we're going to fall apart. I can't thank you enough, Clarissa, for showing up today for the audience and for yourself and for me. I'm sending a great big hug, love, and kiss. And we will see you live on YouTube when I post this up a little bit later. So stay tuned.
Wonderful.
I will.
Thank you so much again.
Make it a great day. Okay, bye.